Hi, I'm Helen,
I'm Kirsten.
and welcome to our podcast where we tackle taboo topics related to pelvic health and wellness.
Today we have a very special guest, or two very special guests with us, who are at the forefront of improving sexual health for women. Nikki Williams is the founder of V-ology, and Kiana McLeod is the chief marketing officer. V-ology is a company dedicated to creating innovative solutions for pelvic health. This flagship product is a vaginal dilator device that can help women who experience painful intercourse, vaginismus, and other issues related to sexual health. We're excited to talk to Nikki and Kiana today about how and why they started V-ology, what the dilators are for, the research behind it, and how they can help women improve their sexual and pelvic health and overall well-being.
So, whether you're someone who's dealt with pelvic pain or discomfort, or if you're interested in learning more about your own health and specifically women's pelvic health and all the innovative solutions, then this episode is for you. Now let's dive in and get to know more about the founder of V-ology. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Helen. How are you?
Nice to see you. So let's start by understanding a little bit more about what exactly is V-ology and what's your mission and vision within women's health solutions.
So V-ology is an innovative FEM-verse that unites the worlds of sexual wellness and fem care in perfect harmony. So our goal at V-ology was to create a secure and encouraging environment where individuals can explore resources that help them enhance their sexual health and overall well-being.
And Nikki, if I can head over to you for a second, why did you start V-ology? What inspired you?
V-ology was started because I had a lot of close family and friends who suffered from various sexual dysfunctions. I got a deep understanding of how these issues could affect their intimate relationships and their overall well-being. So as I learned more about the various types of sexual dysfunctions, I realized that there was a significant need for education and awareness around the topic. This is when I decided to start V-ology in an empowering FEM-verse dedicated to helping women reestablish their strong connection with their bodies and their partners.
And, obviously there are other products on the market, but I think what really struck Kirsten and I is your approach, your marketing, the whole feel around the brand of V-ology. And for us, that's what sets you apart. But other than that, what sets you apart in the market from your perspective?
I think the education piece for us probably sets us apart. Like our team is really dedicated to educating women around the pelvic health topic and just letting them know that there's nothing wrong with them. That these are things that just happen and that there are tools and resources and a community out there willing to support them and help them through their journey because, it's a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
So kind of like a tribe, so to speak, just to let an encouraging group to help them know that they're not alone.
Absolutely.
Nikki, can I jump in for a second? There's something you just brought up in regards to what really inspired you to get the company going. And that was learning about friends and families' challenges. What Helen and I find in pelvic health in particular is that a lot of women aren't talking about it. Can you share with us, and Kiana as well, a little bit about what your experience around that at V-ology has done and how you're trying to foster conversation to get more women comfortable talking about those challenges?
Nikki, if you don't mind, I can actually use myself for this. And so for me, I have PCOS. And with polycystic ovarian syndrome, what would happen is that the need for a dilator is something that we don't know until a little bit later. And we suffer from dyspareunia. So we do have the vaginal pain. The dryness happens because of hormonal fluctuations. And it was amazing when I met Nikki and saw this amazing device that she had created because it was something that doctors have never prescribed. It's always been everything from invasive surgeries like hysterectomies to just deal with it. And lose weight.
Let's take the uterus out.
Yes, exactly. That'll fix it. And so I can say as someone who has also beta tested the dilator myself and gone through my journey, and am still going through that journey, I can honestly say that what V-ology provides is the truth. So it has been amazing in the sense of helping me with those things such as vaginal dryness, making me more. One of the biggest things that we like to talk about is how we like to bring back the human, like the brain body connection. And we talk about that a lot with V-ology. And that was so important for me because everyone will need things like dilators for their own reason. But for me, it was painful. And I had a very negative experience with my pelvic region. I would just be like, yeah, I don't like it. Like it's to stay away from it and everything. And it was with the help of through like the dilator, I was able to start bringing back in those things of those basically like intimate moments of touch and care. And also being able to bring that into like with a partner and all those different things. And so the comfortability was brought back to the body. So then the body became more responsive, more positive. And with V-ology, that is a big part of our mission, is to make sure that individuals will feel that same way, like whatever that connection is for themselves. So that's through any of our products, you're able to have the senses tap in. And let your body kind of find its own rhythm. And then as you're going through your journey, you start to learn how to do self-care for yourself. And then you have physicians, and the physicians will be there when you need them for sure. But there's that time where we need that space to learn for ourselves what our body needs. So basically with anything from my personal experience, I could say that V-ology's products, as well as the dilator itself, has been phenomenal for me. And so I am 100% a witness of seeing change and ease within that change and comfortability again, because your girl was not good with the body. So I feel really, really great. So hopefully I hope that helps someone else for sure.
I think that comes back to, I mean, it's amazing not only that the product exists and that also, Kiana, you've experienced it yourself. And, I think for those women who are at that point, definitely understand the value of having a product like V-ology's that can help them with their recovery, can help them with their healing. But I think where sometimes we find it difficult when we're talking about women's health and businesses within women's health or femtech is getting that engagement in the first place. So as Kirsten said, to foster those conversations. And what are some of the challenges have you faced, or maybe you haven't, but have you faced in terms of engaging women and getting them to understand what your products are about and why they need to sit up and take notice?
I would say one of the first things was market saturation. And so that was a big deal. Overcoming stereotypes, building trust, cultural sensitivities, things such as creating the supportive communities. And so I would say the challenges are there because there's this mix of information, and we have, I was watching something earlier and it was like the World Wide Web. So, but basically in the internet now, like we have access to so much information, and sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it's not. And so I feel like that is a challenge that we've definitely faced, is debunking certain things. And then also pioneering other ways of thinking. And so that's been, I think, a big issue. And then the second issue, I think, would be in terms of overcoming stereotypes, because there are a lot of cultural stereotypes that are out there. And that could be whether from a religious standpoint, if it's a sexual orientation standpoint, anything like that, and of course, race. And so even in Black communities, we don't have access to a lot of different things. And so it's lovely that with V-ology that we're trying to create this amazing community where it's for everyone, that everyone can come in and say, hey, this company is inclusive, and they're really trying to help us understand what's going on. And then also, again, accessibility is one thing, because things like dilators usually were referred to you by a physician. And so it's not something that we could just like Google and see automatically. Yeah, I would say that building trust can be difficult because someone can trust their physician over this other person. And so really, again, I think what we found out now is that by building a community, the community is bigger. The community and the message is going to be bigger, because we need to make sure that they understand everything from our point of view, from the world point of view, but also feel comfortable enough to actually tell their stories. Because I find that the silence, the suffering that happens behind the scenes is what needs to come to the forefront so that we can start having those conversations a little bit more and things can be a little bit more open. And so I don't know if you guys resonate with that, but I truly know the feeling of just being quiet about it and going about your day and not really having someone that you can reach out to and say, hey, I understand your pain. I feel that too. So we find that is a challenge, is getting people to feel that comfortability. So
yeah, I think, Helen, I think we can both relate to that, right? It's part of that common mission, I think, that we have with V-ology at Alana is let's break the silence. Let's break the silence. Let's smash the taboo. Let's get comfortable saying words that we, even saying the word vagina for so long was like, oh my gosh, someone just said that word. Let's normalize our body parts, get comfortable talking about them. So love that you guys are creating this community, this place where women can come forward and share their experience, but not just share their experience, connect, encourage others, support others, and learn and discover not only about their bodies, but about different products that can help them and give them some hope. Just jumping back, and I want to talk more about your products and how they improve sexual health for women. But can I relate to you and your story? I found my way to V-ology through my physical therapist, my pelvic physical therapist, which I didn't even know about, by the way. Like, didn't even know that was even a field until I went through my own journey, which I had to find my way there on my own, because there's a lot of, not all physicians are maybe educated in that specific regard. And so through that, I found same thing, very similar. I found V-ology changed my life. And I really mean it. Like, I felt like I got my sexual self back, which until you don't have that, you kind of, I want to say I kind of took it for granted until I didn't have it. And so I relate very much with that story, Kiana, and was over the moon when I found V-ology and the dilator. So let's transition and talk about that more. Obviously, we've talked about the dilator. I definitely would love to hear a little bit more specifics from you, Nikki and Kiana, about how does the dilator, and I want to spend some time talking about that, because I think sometimes when women just see a picture of the dilator, they think, oh, this is a vibrator, or people don't know what a dilator is and what it's used for. So I'd love to kind of dive into that a little bit. And then I also want to spend some time just learning about some of your other products and hearing you talk about how that also improves women's sexual health. So I'll turn it over to you guys, and we'll start with the dilator.
Nikki, that is all you. You're the amazing founder of the dilator.
Yeah. So we have two dilators. Actually, we have three dilators in our line. I have not released the third one yet. Kind of still work in progress for me. There's the original plastic, firm dilator, which I think a lot of people have seen in the marketplace. And from my experience, being a witness to friends and family who have used that dilator along their journeys, the complaint was always the same. These dilators are so intimidating. They feel really hard. The functionality of them is very blah. And so for me, I was like, I can make that better. So I decided to design the Vitality Dilator, which is a silicone dilator, medical grade silicone dilator. I wanted it to be really quiet so that when you're having your self-care, the kids or whatever could be in the house and it's not like, what is mommy doing? Or whatever, So I wanted it to be super quiet, and I wanted to have a soothing type of experience when you're using it. Not very intimidating. So it's really soft, and it has 10 vibrating functions. It's rechargeable, so you don't have to worry about where are the batteries for this thing. So to me, I just wanted it to feel more approachable, something that was easy to use, something that would be comfortable for you. So that is that was my mission when I designed the Vitality Dilator. And the feedback from it has been really, really good. So I think we hit the mark. I may do some variations to it in the future, but that original one will always be that one.
I love that. And can just taking a step back, Nikki, what is a dilator and what do people use it for?
So a dilator can be used for so many things. Usually a pelvic floor therapist will refer you to a dilator if you have a magnitude of sexual dysfunctions that they consider, vaginismus for one, vaginal atrophy, and pelvic floor muscle tensions, prolapse, dyspareunia. And so what it does is the dilator has various sleeves on it. And so you start out with the smallest sleeve, or the sleeve that's most comfortable with to you. And basically what it does is it helps to retrain your pelvic floor and vaginal muscles. So it's like an exercise. Right. It's basically a vaginal exercise tube. The same way we use dumbbells for our arms and leg lifts for our legs. You use a dilator to help exercise your vaginal muscles.
That's a fantastic way to describe that. And I think you making the exercise analogy is something that resonates, right? We work out all these other muscles, but we kind of forget our muscles down there and in there a little bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you touched on this a little bit in just what you were saying. How can gynecologists or healthcare professionals like pelvic physical therapists incorporate your products, either the dilator and or other products that you have, into their treatment plans for patients?
I can speak to the relationships we have with a couple of pelvic floor therapists. And I know that they tend to recommend dilators to their patients who maybe had a baby or preparing to have a baby, or who just may express to them that there is pain during penetration. So there are various reasons that a pelvic floor therapist may tell or recommend to their patients to get a dilator. And so it will pretty much be for a lot of the reasons that I touched on before. Yeah. And just to help them again with exercise, physical therapy, basically for your vagina. So, in essence, is what it is. And so they usually, the ones that I work with, they help them, through that journey and see how they're going with it. And, then they incorporate some other, physical therapy exercises.
Fantastic. Obviously, the dilator is not the only product you all have available. I'd love to talk about some of the other innovative solutions that you have developed to help improve women's sexual health. And, I know you have your Bloom oils, which I love. They're fantastic. Big fans, Helen and I. So we'd love to hear you talk a little bit more about that product line and other products that you want to highlight.
Bloom, of course, is my favorite. So, being a perimenopausal woman myself, for me, hello. The Bloom oil really, I was talking to Kiana and we have a super fantastic relationship. We speak almost every day. We don't really have anything to talk about. We'll still just get on Zoom and she'll be working on something and I'll be working on something. And then we're like just having girl talk. And I was telling her, I was like, we totally need a natural oil for down there. I was like, you moisturize your hands, you moisturize your face. Why wouldn't you moisturize down there? And she was like, yeah, why wouldn't you? And I was like, that's it. I'm coming up with an oil. And so I started to play around with all these different oils, and I stumbled upon this collaboration of natural oils that I think is fantastic for hydration down there because it is so needed. And just the first time that I tried it, I called Kiana and I was like, you have got to try this. This is so amazing. And I sent it to her and she was like, I tried it everywhere. I put it on my face. I put it under my arms. She was like, I love this stuff. Like, you can put it everywhere. I was like, you really can. So that's our love for Bloom. And so we're definitely going to expand the Bloom line a bit, because right now I think we only have we have green tea, honey, which is everybody's favorite. The lavender is also everybody's favorite, and then the unscented. So we're going to expand that line for sure. And we are going to have incontinence pads for V-ology. That is a real thing. So I am working on that right now. That will be here sooner than later.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Are you taking a similar approach? I know in a lot of your products, right, you're making sure they're clean ingredients and materials. I'm assuming that's coming in as well.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Good.
Yeah, that's super important for us.
Yeah, I want to just touch on that for just a little bit longer, because I think that, you know, that was one thing that really stood out to me about V-ology's products. There's so much in the market, right? If you go to the pharmacy or the grocery store, right, you're throwing these many products, but you don't know what's in them. So can you talk a little bit about what women should be aware of when they're looking at products related to their sexual health and wellness, and be mindful of just from an ingredients perspective? Because that's also something that you don't hear about a lot. And we kind of just take what we're showing instead of, hey, you should be aware of X, Y, and Z in these products, or here's questions to ask about the products you're using.
Yeah, definitely. I think we approach our product lines with V-ology the same way. I'm a very funny eater, for instance. And so there are just certain things I'm not going to put in my body, with the exception of chocolate. Chocolate is just my friend. But so I feel my approach to the product line for V-ology is the same way. I'm just not going to put anything on my body. To me, it's very, very important. My labs know me very, very well for being very meticulous. They're like, oh, we know, Nikki, it has to be as natural as possible. I was like, it has to be. I mean, sometimes I even fight with them about the preservatives. It was like, Nikki, we have to have one preservative. I was like, one preservative, that's it. But if we can get away with not having anything that is a preservative or anything like that, I would tend to shy away from those things. I just like, I don't know, Kiana will tell you, I'm just, natural is better. So for me, I just think it's really important that the less ingredients you have in a product, the better it is. I don't think you need a whole host of chemicals and parabens and things like that to make your product great. And I think that women should really start to pay attention to these products that, you know, because the advertisement says it's great, you know, read the ingredients on some of those things. Kiana and I took a day to do that, and I was floored with some of the stuff that these products have in them. One of them have wood pulp. Like, whoa. Do you really want to put wood pulp in your vagina or in your vaginal area? That is so weird. And so, yeah, for me, it's everything natural. As natural as humanly possible. Minimal ingredients. You can get the exact same results, if not better.
I think that's a great piece of advice, Nikki, especially take the time to read the ingredients. Yeah. Can you understand it? Do you know, can you read it and understand it? Or is it some very complex scientific term that you have no idea what it is? That's a great.
That means wood pulp when you Google it. I'm like,
think about it.
And additionally, to basically add to what Nikki was saying, is that we had a conversation once before, and I was just like, yeah, it's always great when you think about V-ology's products where it's things that you can probably get from either your garden or your cabinet, your pantry. And so that's like, I think something that's super important to know is that a lot of the ingredients within those products are things that are so natural that you can actually have them be, create them yourselves, basically meaning like you can go garden, or again, it's something that you've cooked with before, or you use as a natural something in your hair, if it's on your skin, whatever it may be. And so that's what I do love about our products so much, is that we're always making sure that everything is as clean as possible. So
I love your green tea.
Love that. Love that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're such good. I mean, this is, we love your products, which is why we partnered with you guys on this. They really stood out for us, and we're happy to try to get more women tuned in to paying attention to the ingredients, put good stuff on and in your body. Helen, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, and just to add to that, even just down to the way that you guys have packaged and presented the products, that was a real, I guess, eye-opener or drew my attention to a lot of your products. Kirsten mentioned them to me, and I was taking a look at them, and it's so different. I think this is part of the narrative that we're all trying to change with pelvic health. A lot of things that are presented, or at least over here in the UK, are very clinical, whereas V-ology comes across as more like a beauty product, as you were saying, Nikki, right? You take care of what you put on your face, on your hands, on your body. And for me, I felt the approach from V-ology was very much in line with other things that I would consider as a beauty product for another beautiful part of your body, right? So it was just, you can have that one for free.
That was perfect.
It's that lifestyle thing. And I think that's where we're trying to push a lot of the conversation around women's health in general. It's just to take it. It is obviously medical. It is obviously hugely important we understand how our body works. But I think it's also important to approach these things as part of our life. And so therefore, as meticulous as you can be about what goes in your hair, on your face, what you might wear, you need to think about these things as well. And I think that V-ology has done a great job of that.
Thank you.
So on a similar topic, but switching directions a little bit, we, in closing out our time with you both today, we have two questions for you that we ask all guests on our show. Nikki, as a women's health founder, what's your take on where we're at with pelvic health today? And what are you excited about just as a whole in the industry?
I think the awareness and understanding of pelvic health and its importance is growing. There have been significant strides in both research and technology with innovative products and treatments emerging to address various pelvic health issues. Such as urinary incontinence, pelvic organ prolapse, and other sexual dysfunctions. These advancements, along with increased awareness and open dialogue around these issues, have created a more optimistic landscape for women, I believe. This progress offers more options and resources than ever before to address women's pelvic health needs and improve their overall well-being. So that's pretty exciting to me that the conversations are beginning to start. And I think that the importance of platforms like Elena they're priceless at a time like now, because so many women still don't really understand what's going on with them. And I think just to be able to have access to those resources where they can educate themselves and understand that they're not alone and, there is help and, this isn't the end of it all, So I think I'm really excited about, the conversations the dialogue starting to take place.
I love that.
And the direction
that
they're going here. Yeah.
What's one myth or common misconception about women's sexual health or pelvic health that you would like to dispel?
One myth or misconception that we'd like to dispel is that experiencing pain during intercourse is normal or inevitable. And so, because again, as we talked about earlier, that suffering in silence, because that it's so real, a lot of it is because people feel like that this is normal. Like, oh, I just thought that was a part of the process. And so we want to make sure that people understand that that's not normal. Pain during sex is an actual condition, and that you should definitely seek out medical attention from a healthcare provider to understand what is going on with your body. Yeah. And that's just, that's something that we see a lot. And then also, we spoke about this a little bit in our first meeting with Alana, but about things like body dysmorphia, all of those things that happen. Just because you find that, yes, I am in pain, or I don't quite understand my body, so now I am disconnected from it completely. And it's like, that is also something that is not normal. We have to address those things. So that is definitely, I think, one big myth that we've come across.
That is a huge myth, right? 1 in 7 women suffer from some sort of pelvic pain, right? So you're not alone. That's a huge one. Thank you for calling that into the light, Kiana. So that wraps up our interview today. We are so thrilled to have both Nikki and Kiana from V-ology here with us today. You can head on over to alana.health to learn more about their products, and head over to the V-ology website, which will be included in the show notes.